I really want to say the title straight away just to annoy Mike. What cybersecurity is missing? Marketing. Sorry, I can't help myself.
Or as Peter tries to say, Miketing.
Sure.
Miketing.
So that's an example of bad marketing. And in this episode, I'm going to share some examples of good marketing.
Yeah,
Nice.
I get to interview Mike and ask him about his profession, which is something that John and I are not instinctive fans of, let's say.
Yeah, not exactly fond of.
Nor is
Anyway.
most of the cybersecurity industry. People don't get into cybersecurity because they care about marketing. In fact, a lot of times they are against it. But if they want people to pay attention, it needs to be marketed better.
Today, we're going to be interviewing Mike in his topic of speciality, which is marketing or Miketing, as I like to call it.
A stretch. No, let's not do that.
Yeah, well, it's marketing and Mark and Mike, whatever. Okay, Mark is in marketing. Mike is in marketing, as some of you might know. This is not going well. Jesus Christ! I'm
Do we want to
sorry.
start this over?
Like
No,
here's
no,
the
marketing
marketing
tip.
more.
Practice.
Oh my God, it's like we're watching an active stroke.
Train
So
wreck in real time.
Mike is in marketing.
Mike's in marketing, and we're going to
What
ask
are we
you some
gonna do?
questions about it.
Yeah.
He asked us whether we'd like to on Discord, and I feel that may have been a mistake. But as Mike
feel like
likes to say,
you took it more seriously maybe than I imagined. I just figured like you guys are security, I'm in marketing. We talk about the perspective. We could talk about marketing
That's
the show.
because Peter
We could talk about what you've
fucking
seen in marketing.
loves- Mike, that's because Peter loves game show days.
Yeah,
I
that's true.
do,
He
I do.
adores these days.
Yep.
And I can just feel his bubbles
Is he gonna
of
score
excitement.
me?
Like,
All right.
yeah, that's also definitely
What you
a
got?
bonus. But like, let's hear it.
By the way, one of the things I love about this podcast, and one of the reasons why we kept doing it for such a long time, is the fact that I come from like an ad blocking world of running this ad block list for such a long time. 26 years today, on the day of recording, is its 26th birthday.
amazing.
Mazel
Yes.
tov.
Yeah.
November the 26th.
He mentioned that in
19...
Discord, John. You wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah.
I saw it actually.
And John is also similarly quite, has strong feelings about this topic. And Mike is kind of the opposite.
Oh,
And
has strong
one of the things
feelings.
I've loved. He's very
Very
he
much
comes from the
against.
marketing world and he loves this data. And the fact that we can actually have conversations and disagree quite violently sometimes, but still want to keep talking to each other is refreshing, and I do value it a lot. So anyway, first question, let's get into it. Mark, I'm genuinely getting confused now. Mike, how did you get into marketing?
Well, that was going to be my question.
Because I wanted to be
Oh.
successful in business, and you can't succeed in business without sales and marketing.
Okay, but how did you come to that conclusion?
No.
Sorry, that doesn't answer the question. That's why you got into marketing, not how you got.
Well, okay, fair enough. So I have an IT background. I started a managed services company, and I sucked at making money because I didn't know how to do marketing and sales. So I got involved with an organization that teaches IT business owners to do marketing and sales, Robin Robbins. Loved it. Totally recommend it to anyone. I think the programs, that was 10 years ago that I was involved now. So it may not be the same program, but invaluable to my career development. Led to me being able to sell the company because I realized that it was much more fun to me than to do the sales and marketing than it was to actually do the tech work. And I think this is an important lesson for a lot of business owners, and even something that we see doing the show, is that we think like, it's a great show. Why isn't anybody watching it? Because our marketing sucks and nobody knows about it. That's the problem. Nobody knows how good your thing is until after they've already bought it. And they make the buying decision just based on your sales and marketing. So if you don't have sales and marketing, you don't have customers, and nobody's ever going to know how good your shit is.
That is such a great expression of why marketing is important. That nobody knows how good it is until after they bought it, and they only buy it because of the marketing. That's really good. I think I'm going to steal that and use that as my own. Thank you.
in your
Right.
marketing
But
meetings.
I was curious about how you got into it. So you did this course, the Robin Robbins thing. How did you realize that marketing was so important? Like, when did it click that, oh shit, it's all down to marketing?
Well, I mean that course is what taught me that group is.
Right, but you said you went on the course because you weren't making money, so and you realized it was because of marketing. So then you did the course.
I didn't know why. I just knew I wasn't making money. So the full story is, I had left a full-time job to start my IT company in October of 2007, which in retrospect we now realize was the month that the Great Recession that lasted for the next couple of years started that month when I quit my job to start my own company. I slogged it out for probably 2 or 3 years. And I think it was like Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve of 2010. I had made literally almost no money that year. I was just going to like give up, get a job. I was devastated, totally depressed.
Wow.
And I came across a Robin Robbins webinar saying like, hey, this is the problem that IT business owners have, and they don't know how to solve it. And they have this frustration. And here's this expensive program, but it's 100% money back if it doesn't work. And I thought, well, I have literally nothing left to lose. It's a money back guarantee. So if it works, phenomenal. Yeah. If not, then I'm ready to just give up anyway. So whatever. And it worked.
Do you think we could take the course for our podcast? And if we don't make any money from the podcast, then we'll get our money back.
Well, the same principles apply. I think this is what I learned, is it wasn't just about building an IT business. It was about marketing. That was the lesson.
Right. Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So you've actually kind of already answered my second one, which is why do you think marketing is so important? But I think that I might expand that question into, why do you think marketing is the number one thing for every business?
Well, marketing and sales, I think, together. You know, there's no business without a sale. If somebody's not giving you money.
The bullshitting niches, basically.
Yeah, exactly. The part that actually makes the business grow. Yes, the bullshit parts. But marketing facilitates sales. Sales builds business.
But the areas of the business where you lie and manipulate other people to,
right.
That's the bullshit I was referring to. Not those areas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you understood. Great. Glad we're on the same page there. I have to say though, that from my point of view, as a tech guy, I basically dismissed marketing, anything to do with marketing, for over a decade. I mean, I knew they existed and I knew people were in sales and marketing, but I just basically hated anybody who was anything to do with that. Not hated is a strong word, but it's true. It's fact.
No, a lot of people do. That's why it's a tough career to get into.
I felt that, and I don't anymore, after interacting with some individuals who are in technical sales that are way smarter than me. I viewed the whole sales cycle, having worked in sales for many years. I viewed the whole tech sales cycle, from lead generation to hot and cold calling to closing to everything, as like, you're just a snake man. You are the worst. Yeah. And all you do is inflate and lie and convince these people with $1 million budgets to shave off a piece for you. I guess partially that's true, but partially very untrue.
It's that attitude that a lot of people have that keeps businesses from growing, because you have a guy who starts a business but thinks sales and marketing is evil. I'm not going to do it. Cool. Stand on your principles. You'll never sell anything because you think sales and marketing are evil. So good luck with your company.
Well, just go to the subreddit RMSP, and I can guarantee that inside of the top 20 posts is a rant/complaint about sales at one of the vendors that these MSPs use.
Sure, you'll find that in every industry, no question.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's just one that's kind of relatable here.
Yeah,
Um,
I pay attention to that one too. I've been out of my MSP for
Yeah.
10 years, but I'm still in that community.
sure.
Wow. Okay.
So,
All right. Sorry.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
John.
go ahead. No, please.
So let me just say also though I think the main lesson from marketing that I've learned is that it doesn't matter what you think about it. So
Yeah, that's true. I think
Robin at the time, again, 10 years, 15 years ago, 20 years ago now, not 20 years, but like, well, I'm close to 20 years. So at the time was really into like long form sales letter, like a letter that you printed out, put it in an envelope, 10 pages long and mailed to somebody, like was one of the first things that I was taught to do. And she said, just try it. It works. And I said, this is bullshit. It's not going to work, but I paid you all this money to listen to your advice. So whatever, I'll just fucking do it and then I'll get my money back. Except guess what? It worked. And it was mind blowing to me. It included a fax back form. Fill out this form and fax it back to me for a meeting. I had people fax it back to me. I had people print it and mail it back to me. I had people scan it and email it back to me. I had one guy who I showed up to his office for a sales meeting and he had it filled out and sitting on his desk when I got there. Like, it blew my mind. I would have said, like, there is no way in hell this is going to work. This is insane. It'll never work. And it worked. So it's not about what you think. It's about what the prospect thinks.
I actually think sometimes that I sort of get surprised how it's not even worse than it is, because once you've seen that these things which you just can't understand why they work. Like I worked in a direct mail company once, one of my first jobs ever, and I was literally standing at a desk. There were 4 piles of paper and an envelope, and I would go and then put it in an envelope, next one. And that was the job, just to fill envelopes to be mailed out to customers. And this was from people who had called into a phone line to get requested this information. And there was a time when they did a TV ad for a cruise, and everybody was warned that this TV ad was happening. And I was like, it's a TV ad for a cruise. I've seen 1,000 of these. There is no way that this is going to have any effect. Mm-hmm. And we were slammed for like 2 days solid. They were just stacks of people who wanted, like, stacks of paper coming in because everybody wanted to know about this cruise. It was crazy. And after that, I was just like, I don't know why did how that work? Well, like you say, it doesn't matter. Right?
So like we talk about the targeting, we talk about ads, we talk about the email. Like everybody says it doesn't work. It's not going to work on me. Guess what? It does. It works on all of us. Yeah,
that's scary. So the next question is how can you live with yourself / sleep at night knowing that what you're doing is being used to manipulate others?
I'd sleep better if I was better at it, because then I'd have more money.
Oh, okay. No, but does it genuinely? Okay, I put it slightly facetiously, but genuinely, do you not sometimes think, oh wait, hang on, am I the bad guy?
No.
You're like facilitating, right? Why not though?
Not at all. Nobody thinks they're the bad guy, obviously. And again, all my references I know are like 15 years old, but I used to listen to a guy named Joe Polish, and he said, marketing is like a gun. You can use it for evil, you can use it for good. It's just a tool, which makes a lot of sense. And I think when people think about marketing, they are thinking primarily about that manipulative side of it. He also described marketing as applied psychology, because you're appealing to people in a way that takes advantage of the way our brains work and the way we think. So is that manipulation? I mean, to the extent that asking somebody to like and subscribe is manipulating them into doing something that you want them to do, sure. Everybody should absolutely do that. But do we feel bad? Do we feel like we're manipulating people into doing that? No, they do it because they want to support the show, and we're giving them that opportunity to do that.
Yeah, and it's well worth their time. The
benefits to liking and subscribing the show are innumerable.
Okay,
Cons,
all right.
none. Pros, limitless.
I know, but that's marketing. That's what that is.
Yeah.
as a follow-up, then, have you ever refused to market something, to engage in marketing for something which you thought was, wrong?
No, because I've never been in that position. So the reason I qualify that is in IT, I did have that dilemma. I was when I was doing my MSP work, I was called by one of these like pregnancy crisis centers that's like a fake abortion clinic.
Filth, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I really struggled with it. So there was somebody, another customer who I really respected in business. I went to him and I said, hey, I do not want to work with these people. This feels like shit. Like, how could I live with myself? And he said, money's money. What do you care? They're going to pay somebody else, so they might as well pay you. And I never, I couldn't do it. So I didn't do business with them.
I never knew you had morals, Mike. Jesus.
I know. That's why I'm telling this story, because I'm as shocked as anybody. It appears that I do, but I've also never been kind of forced on to make a decision like that in marketing. So I don't. I've chosen the companies that I work with, I guess, the same way.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you. I that's a great answer to quite a shitty question for me. I'll be honest. But
I also don't view tracking as immoral. So let's
skip over that one in particular.
Right. But that's why, like, it's part of what it's just your perspective, right?
I think what he's saying is that compasses align differently person to person.
Look, I don't actually think all tracking is evil, and I allow it for my personal use. I just think that people should have a choice, and I think people should be aware of what's going on. Those are my two things, right?
So we've talked about tracking and digital fingerprinting in like financial crimes, right? Like in how it can be used. It can be used for good.
The only legit usage of it. But please bear in mind that you are the one being interviewed here, Mike, not me.
I've also said, though, and recently I think we had this conversation, that a problem privacy advocates have is bad marketing.
Honestly, I've sort of come around to it a lot, because, and this leads me on to my next question, my last, I've got two more. We're already at 16 minutes, so whatever, fuck it, it's our podcast.
And we're talking about my favorite topic, me, so
you.
So yes, I've described a lot of things as marketing problems, like the rollout of DNSSEC, which is a way to prevent,
which is a failure.
Which is a failure. It's not adopted as widely
the rollout,
as it should
not
be,
the technology.
Yeah, the technology is not great either.
Oh, both. Yeah.
But I don't care about that. I just want to see the idea of DNSSEC, and I've had very limited interaction with DNSSEC. The only interaction I had was at a past company. A customer wouldn't work with us unless we had DNSSEC set up, and the way it was set up was kind of fucked up, and it was just a nightmare. Anyway, not about me. Go on.
It's tricky. It's a very clever technology. The problem is that it is really the only effective protection against DNS cache poisoning, and it's the rollout's been really bad because it's hard. And the thing is, it's not that hard anymore. But it has a marketing problem. But what you just said about how marketing is applied psychology. So my next question is, how can we apply marketing to everyday life? Have you got any tips for how we can like market ourselves? How we can, Yeah.
So before I answer that, I will say, you asked about like marketing, good or evil, whatever, and then brought up DNSSEC. So another thing that Joe Polish used to say, again, sorry for the old references, and I think it actually was Dean Jackson who said this. That's what I was looking up.
I don't know who either of those people are.
Two marketing consultants, and they actually focus on information marketing. So people who basically sell white papers, like that's what these guys do. But they said nothing exposes a bad product faster than good marketing. So
you've mentioned that quote before. That's so true.
Yeah, if a technology is shit and you make everybody aware of it, it will become very aware that it's a shit technology much faster than if it was just toiling away in the background. And that's maybe frustrating to some people, because then if people still don't want to buy your thing, you really have to answer some hard questions about like, oh, maybe my thing's really just not that good, which is uncomfortable. So personal branding, I think, and I
Is that what it's
struggle
called?
with, well,
Marketing in everyday life is called personal branding.
I think he's just using buzzwords for marketing yourself.
yeah, I mean, that's what it is. And I'm actually terrible about this, because at work, I'm the kind of person who just, I'm like interested in the work, and I don't care about recognition, even though part of my job is getting recognition for products.
Yeah.
So I personally am
Ironic.
very unlikely to talk about my accomplishments, but that means that come review time, I'm saying, yeah, but I did all this stuff. And everybody's like, but what have you done? You haven't told us about any of it. So I don't do a good job of personal marketing or personal branding myself. But I think that's important. And I think it's also hard to pay attention to it's hard to pay attention to marketing when you don't need anything.
Yeah. When you're selling well already.
Yeah. Except then so I'm inactive on LinkedIn. All of a sudden I need a job and I start posting like crazy. People see that difference. So in terms of like personal marketing, probably the best thing is just to maintain the network relationships, even when you don't need them to be active. Like, put the time into cultivating the relationships.
Do you know something that just struck me while I was thinking about this? Is that there's a lot of like advice online, which is really actually just marketing yourself, but is termed differently because it's related. So there's a lot of like dating advice, how to get a girlfriend or boyfriend, how the tips to do this, and how to get a job. There's tons of advice about that. And basically, it's just marketing advice. It's like how to make yourself look good. Yeah. All right. Last question. For anybody who's gotten this far, they must be interested. Anybody who's gotten this far might be curious to know advice from Mike. How would someone get into marketing themselves?
Oh my God, this is kind of one of those questions that like everyone I feel like in the tech has asked, like, how in the fuck did you get in here? Like,
yeah, well, like if there's someone who was interested in breaking into the market, like for God's sake, if they are, look, I'm gonna drop the skepticism because what kind of roles are there at the junior level, and what kind of roles are there for more senior people, and just some general advice if you've got anything, any nuggets of wisdom you'd like to.
So I have no formal training or education in marketing; it just came from everything I had to learn to build my business. And I don't feel like that's held me back. Just like I don't feel like not having a formal, computer science background held me back in technology. I did have some formal training in electronic repair in the Marine Corps that helped, but wasn't even really directly relevant to work I ended up doing. All that said, when I started, I was doing it for my own business, so I didn't have to apply for a job. I just was the one who had to figure out how to do it. So I think for a lot of self-employed people, and that's an important part of my background, I think, is learn to think of yourself as a salesperson in your business to grow your business. In terms of like, I don't know, do people just like dream about being marketers? I think if you're in college, it can be a super fun degree if you're like a creative, outgoing person. I think it's a really interesting career. So what kind of jobs are there? I mean, there's different aspects of it. You can get into actual like the creative side of it, the content marketing, the design side. You can get into the messaging side of like the psychological side of like conversion optimization and messaging and A/B testing and all that stuff. I'm more on the marketing operations, data management, tool management, things like that now. So I think there are a lot of opportunities depending on your background. If you're a more technical person, you might want to be more on the operations side. I'm sorry if I bumped my bike. If you're a more creative person, you want to be on the content or design side. I think there's lots of ways to get into it. There are many open doors, and
all right.
And a problem is marketers can sometimes see themselves as like the person who's responsible to generate leads and doesn't care if they close. So you have this problem with agencies a lot, where an agency say, well, we're going to generate 10,000 leads for your business. But then they're like,
but they're
10,000
shit
shit leads. Like, so is that good
Yeah.
marketing? No, it doesn't. It hasn't done anything at all for me. So really keep in mind that the purpose of marketing is to grow business, not just to publish content or generate leads or, click buttons. But that business needs to turn into money at the end of the funnel. And so the people who can be better about that are the people who are going to do really well at marketing.
Cool. Thank you.
Awesome.
Some excellent advice there from Mike. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you anybody who's still watching. Please do like and subscribe. And
Thank you for having me on the show, Peter and Jon, and I look forward to speaking with you both again.
Oh,
should the opportunity arise.
That's such a business to business podcast sign off. Like, thank you so much. I want to thank my mom. Yeah, that was fun listening.